Have you ever said something at work that you later regretted? We've all been there, haven't we? In the heart of the moment, we might utter words that, in hindsight, we wish we could take back. In the professional world, effective communication is crucial. It's not just about what we say, but also how we say it. Think of your workplace as a complex ecosystem. Each individual, each interaction, each conversation contributes to the overall health and productivity of this ecosystem. Now, within this ecosystem, there are certain phrases that can disrupt the harmony, creating ripples of negativity. Today, we're going to delve into 6 phrases that you should steer clear of at your workplace. Let's kick things off with the first phrase, "That's not my job." Have you heard this before? Or perhaps have you said this yourself? On the surface, it might seem like a simple statement of fact. After all, everyone has their assigned roles and responsibilities, right? But let's delve a little deeper. When you say, "That's not my job," it could be interpreted as a reluctance to step out of your comfort zone, a lack of team spirit, or worse, an unwillingness to go beyond your job description. It communicates a message that you're not eager to learn new skills or take on new challenges. It can also create barriers between you and your colleagues, making you seem unapproachable or uncooperative. Now, this doesn't mean you should take on every task that comes your way, especially if it's outside of your expertise or capacity. But there's a more positive and constructive way to express this. Instead of saying, "That's not my job," you could say, "I'd love to help, but I think could provide more value in this task." Remember, language is a powerful tool. The words we choose to use can either build bridges or create walls. So the next time you're about to say, "That's not my job," take a second to think about the potential impact of your words. Remember, a "not my job" attitude could send the wrong message about your work ethic. Moving on to the second phrase you should avoid saying at work. Have you ever found yourself saying, "I don't have time for this"? It may seem like an innocent enough phrase, a simple expression of being overwhelmed. However, it can come across as dismissive and disrespectful. It suggests that whatever task or issue is at hand is not worth your time, which can inadvertently belittle the efforts of others. Moreover, this phrase can also reflect poorly on your time management skills. It could indicate that you're unable to prioritize tasks effectively, or that you're struggling to keep up with your workload. Both interpretations could potentially harm your professional reputation. So, what should you do when you're swamped with work and someone approaches you with yet another task? Instead of dismissing them with a curt, "I don't have time for this," try to communicate your situation more thoughtfully. You could say something like, "I'm currently working on several important tasks. Could we possibly reschedule this?" Instead of saying, "I don't have time for this," try expressing your current workload and ask for a reschedule. Let's delve into the third phrase you should steer clear of. Now, imagine you're in a situation where you feel slighted or overlooked. It's tempting to blurt out, "It's not fair." But here's why it's problematic. Firstly, the phrase can come across as unprofessional. In a workplace, everyone is expected to handle situations with maturity and grace. Saying "it's not fair" might give off the impression that you're not ready to face challenges head-on. Secondly, it can be perceived as immature. It's a phrase often heard on the playground, not in an office setting. It doesn't effectively communicate your concerns or issues. Instead, it can make you seem like you're complaining without offering a solution. So, what to do when you feel unfairly treated? Start by understanding that fairness is subjective. Express your feelings in a way that focuses on the issue at hand, not on your perceived injustice. Instead of saying "it's not fair," consider discussing your concerns in a more constructive manner. Next up is a phrase that's often used without realizing its implications. We're talking about the seemingly innocent phrase, "This may be a dumb question, but..." It's a common statement that many of us have used in an attempt to soften the blow before asking a question we fear might be seen as naive or uninformed. But have you ever considered the message it sends about your credibility and confidence? By prefacing your question with this phrase, you are essentially undermining your own intelligence and ability. You are suggesting that you, yourself, believe your question is dumb or insignificant. This can inadvertently signal a lack of self-assuredness and create an impression of incompetence, even when it's not the case. It's important to remember that everyone, regardless of their position or experience, has questions from time to time. It's how we learn, grow, and foster better understanding. So, the next time you have a question, just ask it. Remember, there are no dumb questions, only unasked ones. As we move forward, let's consider another phrase that can be detrimental to your professional image. The fifth phrase we're going to discuss today is, "I'll try." Now you may wonder, what's wrong with saying "I'll try"? It seems innocent enough, right? But let's dig a bit deeper. When you say "I'll try," you're essentially communicating a lack of commitment. It's like you're reserving an escape route, just in case you don't fulfill the task. This phrase can unintentionally give off an impression that you're not fully invested in the task at hand. It's as if you're saying, "I'll give it a shot, but I can't promise anything." Moreover, "I'll try" can also undermine your confidence and abilities. When you utter these words, you're subtly suggesting that you're not entirely sure you can complete the job. This can cast a shadow of doubt in your coworkers' minds about your capabilities. It's like you're saying, "I'm not confident I can do this, but I'll attempt anyway." Remember, in the professional world, your words reflect not just your thoughts, but also your attitude and your commitment towards your work. When you say, "I'll try," you're not demonstrating the kind of positive, can-do attitude that employers and colleagues value. So what should you say instead? Opt for more assertive language. Instead of "I'll try," say "I'll do it" or "I'll take care of it." These phrases show that you're committed to the task, that you're confident in your abilities, and that you're willing to take responsibility. In conclusion, it's vital to be mindful of the words you use in the workplace. They can greatly affect how others perceive you. The phrase "I'll try" may seem harmless, but it can subtly erode your professional image. Rather than saying "I'll try," commit to the task at hand and show your determination. Finally, the last phrase you should avoid saying at work. Let's delve into the sixth phrase. "That's impossible." Now, this may seem like a harmless phrase, but it can be highly problematic in a professional setting. It's a phrase that suggests a lack of problem-solving skills and a defeatist attitude, which are not traits employers or team members appreciate. When you say, "That's impossible," it instantly closes the door to possibilities and potential solutions. It conveys that you're not willing to push boundaries, think creatively, or venture outside your comfort zone. It signals a limited mindset, a reluctance to take on challenges, and a lack of resilience. Remember, the workplace is a dynamic environment. It thrives on innovation, creativity, and the ability to adapt. When faced with a challenge, it's crucial to adopt a constructive approach rather than simply dismissing it as impossible. Let's take a moment to understand why this phrase is so problematic. Imagine a scenario where your team is tasked with a challenging project. If you were to immediately respond with, "That's impossible," it would not only dampen the team's morale, but also stifle the flow of ideas. It's like putting a full stop to the brainstorming process before it even begins. Instead of resorting to this phrase, consider saying something like, "This is a tough challenge, but let's brainstorm some possible solutions." Or, "We may need to think outside the box to tackle this." Such responses show that you're open to exploring different approaches and solutions, which is a valuable trait in any professional setting. So that was our final phrase. Let's take a moment to summarize what we've discussed today. We've covered 6 phrases that you should avoid saying at work. Each of these phrases may seem harmless on the surface, but they can have a negative impact on your professional image, relationships with colleagues, and overall work environment. The key takeaway here is that words matter. They can build or break relationships. They can inspire or discourage. They can open doors or close them. That's why it's so important to choose our words wisely, especially in a professional setting. Remember, communication is not just about conveying information. It's about fostering understanding, building relationships, and creating a positive and productive work environment. So let's be mindful of how we communicate. Let's choose our words wisely, and let's strive to make our workplaces more positive, productive, and inclusive. Communication is key in the workplace. Let's choose our words wisely and foster a positive and productive work environment.